After yesterday's, rubbing that IT sector got, how do you look at the entire sector now?
Yeah, good morning. After the HCLTech results and the kind of guidance that they've given for 27, it's again become little, I've become little cautious. But like earlier when we saw TCS results and whatever the company said post the AI correction, and they're not expecting that kind of pressure on their margins or the business. But I think after HCLTech guidance, it's again, come to the forefront, and definitely there is some issue, and IT will not be so easy to make money by investing in IT. So I think one has to be little cautious, though stock corrected sharply yesterday. Valuation wise, definitely it's looking very attractive. But I think let it consolidate a bit because it may not just run up in a hurry. So I think as IT as a whole, you have to be a little cautious. You have to see what Infosys also has to say. That is also going to be important because they've been doing pretty well over the last, some quarters as compared to the other IT companies. So I think after that, you can take a better view.
Yeah, in fact, Sajid, wanted to ask you what they expect estimates despite the very strong margins that we've seen in the current quarter. Neeraj, what's your take? And within, say, consumer durables, how would you play it? Because it's not a theme one can ignore in the kind of environment that we're seeing today.
Yeah, absolutely. Havells, if you've been seeing for the last few quarters, the numbers have not been that great. They've been disappointing the street, and expectations were not met. And valuation-wise, it is still it's not a cheap stock. It's expensive, the kind of valuation that trades at. And I think it needs to maybe consolidate and show a little more improvement over the next couple of quarters for someone to have a serious look at Havells. But as far as the consumer durables are concerned, I think it depends because there is expectation of a harsh summer. So, companies who are into manufacturing ACs and, refrigerators, these kind of companies should have a strong demand coming in for them. And because there was a little late start, some monsoons, some rains happened in North India. So there were some delays which happened there. But last few days again, there are expectations coming back again that is going to be quite hot. So I think I look at more companies which are into, air conditioner, refrigerator, that kind of a business. I think they can have a better summer going ahead.
And Kunal, we were discussing this last afternoon as well, right? The move on a Symphony, on a Havells, Voltas, the entire white goods space. What do you like, in terms of a trade?
So yeah, I think from the entire space, I think Blue Star is something which still looks very strong. The stock has been a lot more resilient, and preferably, I think in this kind of a market, it's always better to try and go with a stock which has a slight moderate beta to maybe low beta. I think Blue Star fits itself very well in the entire pack. Voltas is also something which has done reasonably well. The stock, I think, has recovered from 1200 levels to 1460 or 1480 mark where it closed yesterday. So a good 250 plus point recovery for Voltas in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and that puts the stock back again closer to a potential breakout of almost like a 1.5 to 2 year of swing resistances, just around that 1500, 1520 barrier. So I think that's another name which I would probably look to trade or recommend at current levels. And I think Havells also, I think we mentioned that unless the stock breaks past about 1375 or 1400 barrier, which it crossed yesterday on an intraday basis, I think the stock could probably see some bit of more pressure. So I think if in case the stock drops down today, we would probably look at a buy only about the breakout of 1400 for Havells.
Neeraj, the move that started off with Nestle and only got stronger after its earnings, what are you anticipating in terms of earnings commentary from some of the other FMCG majors?
Nestle did surprise the street with positive numbers, and numbers are pretty good, and you saw a move there. In fact, after Nestle results came, we saw good move in stocks like Britannia, Tata Consumer. There was a decent move there. I am expecting that stocks like Britannia and other FMCG, these companies should do better. And inflation is also going up. They have a reason to increase prices also. So I think going ahead, I am positive on this segment, whether it's Britannia definitely is the top pick for me there, and followed by Hindustan Lever and maybe Tata Consumer. So I think these companies look good and the results should also be better than what Street is expecting. And I think going ahead also the margin should improve.
Neeraj, how are you? Let me just open this up a little bit, make it more broader. How are you playing the market at this point? What are the themes you're looking at, sectors or even stocks, bottom up?
See, sectors which have been positive for the last 2 3 weeks have been energy has been top pick there, because I feel a lot of these energy companies which are into renewable energy, which are already going through the capex, and there are a lot of these metal companies backward integration into power. These companies, I think, have come back into demand. I've seen a good move already in most of these companies happening. So that is one sector which I'm positive on and will continue to add on dips. And then hotels is another sector which had taken a good beating, because December was not that great. So there also you're getting some value buys which are emerging in the hospitality sector. Then, tubes and pipes is one segment where last 1 year there was a drop there with government orders and capex. So there again, you're getting a sense that orders are picking up there. And a lot of orders are expected to come from Middle East also from some companies. So that is also one segment I'm looking at as far as investments is concerned. Telecom and PSU banks are another two segments which I feel that telecom is one which, the expectation of further increase in prices happening in a couple of months. So telecom would be like Bharti can be a good buy even at these prices, because it's corrected also. And PSU banks also, a lot of things have been planned. We've been hearing about increase in FDI. Balance sheets are clean. So there can be opportunities, still opportunities there. So these are kind of sectors I'm looking at as far as investments are concerned.
Let me just push that piece on telecom, because we've got TRI data coming through, and there's been a bit of a pickup with regard to user base over the last month or so, for the month of March. In fact, I'll quickly read out the numbers to you. Of course, some of the private players are some of the big beneficiaries there. And even within the private basket, you saw much better performance from Airtel, the established names, Airtel, Jio, and the like. In fact, Vodafone has added around 103,000 users. Bharti Airtel has added around 5 million. Reliance Jio, 3 million. And India itself has added around 8.5 million. Neeraj, how would you play this? Would you play this through, of course, very limited ways of playing it, but would you play it through an Airtel, through an Indus Towers? How would you play this theme, and how are you reading into the numbers? Give us a sense.
The numbers have been pretty good, and plus expectation of a further rise in tariffs is also something which will support their margins. I would play it simply with Airtel and right like Reliance also, because Jio IPO is supposed to come anytime this year, and Reliance is also corrected. So if you can take with its consolidated company as a whole, also it's coming at a good price. But pure telecom, I think Airtel would be my top pick.
Neeraj, how do you look at some of the insurance companies, SBI Life numbers? Muted APE growth, but FY27 growth, they are talking about some 14% growth in APE for FY27 and VNB margins of roughly around 28%, 77 to 28% there.
See, as far as insurance is concerned, life insurance specifically, it was, we had really thought that would make good money in this sector, and 4, 5, 7 years back, or maybe a little more, we invested in this, but we never made good money in this in the sector. So I feel that life insurance, there is, as far as making money in the stocks is concerned, I think still there's limited scope. As from my understanding, the stocks really don't move, and you don't get that kind of earnings growth that we look at. But pure general insurance is one segment where I'm still positive on. So there, if you get opportunities, if you get some correction because of some regulatory measures or some results, I still look at that. But pure life insurance, I'm really not investing.
Names, Neeraj, within general insurance?
So ICICI Lombard is definitely a very good stock which one should look at. And there's another company, Religare, which is now, I think they've already announced the merger. They have a insurance medical insurance at companies. So that also is doing pretty well. So these are the ones which I have under my radar.
Interesting one, especially Religare. Interesting one.